Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about Ballerina. I just watched it last night in theaters and it was so good. If you haven't heard anything about it or seen anything about it, it's in the world of John Wick, but it's Ballerina. It's a female, a woman. It was really good. I was shocked that I liked it so much. I do really like the John Wick films, but I still was like, oh wow, I really like this. I'm definitely going to rewatch this. And I'm just like, man, I'm getting lucky. The past 3 movies I've seen, I liked them kind of a lot. I mean, Final Destination Bloodlines was meh, but bring her back, and now Ballerina, we're on a streak. I hope that filmmakers keep it going for me. Yeah, this movie was really engaging. The entire time is just action-packed, adrenaline rush, it keeps you very captivated. So I really liked that. I mean, of course it's an action movie, so it should, but I still was glad that it did really keep the momentum the whole film. And yes, I am talking about this. I know it's not technically horror, but there's a lot of murder. There's a lot of somewhat gore. It's not really gory. There's a little gore. There's a little gore. Murder, weapons, the whole shebang. Gorgeous. Loved it. So I'm not going to spoil it in this video. I'm not going to give a full film review and talk about the whole plot as I would with other films that have been out for a while. But I will give a brief synopsis and explanation of the characters just so you are on the same page when I start talking about my final thoughts on it. To start, we have Eve, and she is a ballerina assassin. So in the very beginning of the film, she witnesses her father getting killed. He basically kills off everyone that's attacking him to protect her, but he ends up inevitably dying at the end. And she's okay. Then she's taken in by this other group, and this group is training children to be assassins while also training them in ballet, so that it seems and appears that it is a ballet studio, and in actuality, ballet is more of the cover-up for what's truly going on, which is training children to be assassins. So Eve is brought up by this group. She's training, and she is slowly working her way to the top because she wants to be the best so that she can become an assassin. And her final goal is to get vengeance on the people that killed her father. And we eventually get a lovely appearance from John Wick. And I was so glad because he popped up in the movie early on just for a small moment, and I'm please give me more John Wick and Eve. That would be such a cool collaboration. And it does end up bringing him back towards the end of the film, and he becomes kind of an important part of Eve's storyline. So I really liked that. Yeah, the film just follows her journey trying to find the people that killed her father, and slowly gaining her revenge on them. The problem that she soon discovers is that they are an enemy of her current organization, but they have a mutual agreement that they're not supposed to attack each other. And so she kind of causes chaos amongst these groups that are having a mutual understanding not to attack each other. She causes a rift, and it's also her against a huge organization. So it's a really adrenaline rushing film to watch because she's going ham on everybody. And it's great. I want to now kind of give my thoughts on it. I'm first going to talk about, I have 2 notes as far as things that I I guess could have been improved, things that I didn't quite like about it. And then I'll give all of my thoughts about the things that I loved, because I do really like this movie, but of course there's flaws, and I'm going to talk about them. Number one, the biggest note is that the movie doesn't go deep enough into Eve's storyline and character. It gives that pre-scene of her father dying and everything, and you kind of learn some details about her life, but they don't give much, and I kind of wish that they delved into her character a bit more. And there's also character relationships, I think, that were lacking a lot. There wasn't I mean, of course, John Wick ends up being involved, but other than that, it didn't seem like there were many, like, important people in her life, except for her boss. So I kind of wish that they built up her character a bit more. I didn't even really think about it until I started reading some reviews on the film when I got home, and I was like, oh, a lot of people are talking about this. That's interesting. And I definitely agree with that note of, I think it's lacking some character building. My only thought on why is, number one, the movie was already pretty long. They might have filmed stuff and cut it, or they cut it from the script if it just didn't fit in with the runtime. That's like my first assumption. The second reasoning is because they set it up for a sequel. I'm pretty sure at least they're trying to get a sequel out of it, which I'm not against for this particular movie, but typically I hate when films do that, because it's just, it doesn't have the same charm as it maybe used to. I think people know now so much that, like, yeah, sequels suck for the most part. Sometimes there's exceptions to that, but a lot of times sequels or remakes, they suck. I think, like, leaving your film ending open, not necessarily my favorite thing, but I guess for this particular film, I don't mind. But I'm pretty sure that might have something to do with why they ended it the way that they did, and why they left out some of her character building, because they're planning to delve more into that in later films or film. And my second note, I wish that there was more ballet. The movie is literally called Ballerina, and I can only think of like 3 scenes in the movie that were relatively short that included ballet. And clearly ballet plays an important role in this film as a motif. Like, she carries around a little ballet figurine music box. And of course she was like learning ballet as a child before she was, taken in by this group to be trained. So ballet's clearly an important part of the film, but yet, like, the actual ballet scene, like, I wanted a ballet performance from her, and all we get from her really is just scenes of, like, her feet bleeding when she's doing turns, and, like, her practicing. And I just kind of wish that that would have been incorporated more, or that they would have incorporated ballet into the fighting scenes. Like, fucking imagine if she had a katana and she's sitting there doing dances around these people and is just like slicey. Like, that would have been amazing. Why did they do that? And I know, like, that's also, that could be a little cheesy or whatever, but it's like, your film is called Ballerina. Do something with that. Because, like, the way that they have it now, I feel like they could have just called it Eve, like something, because it just didn't feel like there was enough ballet. And, like, then the final scene of the film includes a ballet performance, but Eve is just watching it. Like, we don't get to see her perform at all. And I think that would have been nice. Or even, I don't know if they would have incorporated with the fighting scenes, either her incorporating ballet, or if they would have had some sort of like a montage where it's cutting to her practicing ballet, or just having more scenes integrating that where we can see like that's really ingrained in her. And yeah, I think that was my second biggest note on that, because that did a little bit, I was a little disappointed when the movie ended. But I did do ballet as a child, and I do still love ballet, so I of course wanted more of that. Now let's talk about the things that I liked. I loved all of the weapons that they used. They had a bunch of different rifles and handguns, of course, but they also had a katana, a fire launcher. That scene was fucking dope. They had ice skates, like the razor bottom of ice skates. That was like so cool, like it just a unique thing to think of. And of course Eve keeps picking up like random items and using them as melee weapons too, which was just it was a very creative choreographed film, and I loved that. And all of the fight scenes were really impressive and entertaining, I think, because it was so like quick, and there's so much of it, and there's so many people that she's fighting in this movie. And so to think of all of those stunts that they had to do and all of the choreography for those, all of the special effects that they had to do, like it was just impressive, and it all, at least in my opinion, it looked great. Of course, me watching as a filmmaker, I'm thinking about like all of the things, but if I were watching as just an audience member, I don't think I would even notice that it doesn't look fake. I think that they did like a great job with that. The second thing that I loved about this is I really loved the kind of empowerment of women in this film, in the ways of showing women's abilities to adapt and women's strengths. And I guess like an example of what I mean is while Eve is being trained, she has a fight against a man, like a buff man, and the director like pulls her aside and is like, stop fighting like him. You have to fight like a girl. And of course that sounds like offensive at first, you know, but that was actually like advice that helped her, because she ends up like kneeing the dude in the balls and like attacking him, and wins the fight and like slams her foot into his head. Like it was just great.
You must become the assassin. You will always be weaker. You will always be small. You want to win? Improvise. Adapt. Cheat.
And I loved that, because I think it encapsulated the idea of like, yeah, biologically men are stronger, at least, you know, people with penises, but that does not make women weak. That just means that women have other strengths. You know, women have more of an ability to be flexible and have more dexterity, and that adds to our ability to attack. And I think like having that ingrained into the film, where they're not trying to just make a female version of a character, they're building a character while building her strengths that she can have. Like it's not just a copy of John Wick, but with a woman. And I really liked that, because, you know, a lot of films, you know, you'll have like a man in a series and then they want to add a woman, and it's just like a kind of a carbon copy. There's no soul given to that woman. And I liked that this film, I think that they put a lot of thought into that. Again, and I think that they could have incorporated that a bit more, as far as Some of the fighting scenes, I think she could have used some more of her abilities. Like if she, she could have incorporated ballet, that would have been cool. But yeah, I did really like that, and I liked that the film felt. I didn't feel like I was watching a movie made by a man. Like, I don't think it was sexualizing her, which is great, because that's rare. The fact that I enjoyed it means that I think it was well made in that regard, because I'm pretty picky, and a series comes out with a film that has a woman lead and it was previously like a man, so I think that they did a good job with this one, and I honestly do kind of hope for a sequel, even though it could be bad. Maybe it'll be good. I do kind of want a resolution on the first like, I want to see more, so I do kind of hope that they have a second one, but I guess we'll see how it does. And yeah, I think that's all of my thoughts. I would love to hear what you guys think of the movie in the comments. If you liked it, I would love to hear why, if it's different than what I say, or if you hated it. I would like to know why. Maybe I'm thinking it's way better than it is. Well, I don't think that, but it could be. So yeah, let me know, and I will be back on Tuesday for another video. Bye!